Hey everyone, welcome to Learn DAX channel. My name is Dish, and with this video we're going to start building our measures and start with analysis. So for the purpose of this video, we have been given three different DAX problems. The first is to calculate sales amount for 2020, the second is to calculate sales amount for 2021, and the third is to calculate sales amount year-over-year growth. Now why are we choosing 2020 and 2021? That's because that's the 2 years that we have in our data set. So before we create the sales amount for year 2020, we need to create a base measure to calculate the sales amount. So now there are two ways I can calculate the sales amount. I can either directly source the sales amount from this total sales, or I can use the product of price per unit into units sold. I'm going to use the latter, which is I'm going to multiply price by unit sold because that just gives us some mathematical foundation of how we are calculating the total sales. So I'll quickly create a new measure, and now that will be the base measure over which we are going to write a lot of measures as we move along in this analysis. The sales amount is going to be sum x, and the table is going to be the sales table, and we are going to multiply the sales unit price, the price per unit, into sales quantity sold. Where do we have it? Unit sold. So that will be the sales amount. If I drag it here and convert it into a card, so this is the amount of total sales. Uh, Let me just do one thing, change the call out value, display units to none, so I can see the exact total sales amount. I just want to do a quick check if this is correct. So what I'll do is I'll pull out the date, and I just need the, okay, I don't need the date actually, I just need the year. So I'll pull out year. I do not need to summarize this. So I see two different years, and I'll pull the sales amount against it. And if I can see, as you can see, that for the year 2020, the sales were around 24 million. I don't know what this unit is, but something in north of 24, and for 21 it is 95,929,3,250, and adding them gives you this amount, which is, as Power BI in the callout value it mentioned, it is 1.2 billion. Now if I change the callout value here, it can actually give us what the unit was: million, billion, specific column, sales amount. If I go to the display units, yeah, thousands. So it's not thousands. Yeah, it is 242 million. So I was correct. It was around, not 24 million, it was 242 million. So I was wrong. Yeah, having said that, this is what we verified. So this was the first measure that we created, the very basic sales measure. Now, if you want some more, uh, you want to know more about SumX, I've already created a video on SumX. I will leave the link in the description. You can check it out. Now, we want to create the sales amount for 2020. So I'll create a new measure, sales amount 2020 is equal to calculate. Now, calculate is a very versatile function. In DAX, we use it quite often. And again, I've created a video on calculate. I will leave the link in the description. You can check it out where I've explained in detail about calculate. So the first parameter that we are mentioning in calculate is the sales amount. And we want that sales amount to correspond to the year 2020. And now this is why I wanted to create an additional column for the date table where I get the year as well. So now if I write date, if I don't have, let's say, if I just use date and if I write here 2020 and close the bracket, and if I hit enter, now let me pull this on the canvas and convert it into a card. So it shows me blank value because if I go to the date table, if I see this column, it does not have anything which has 2020. While it does have 2020, but it has a preceding date as well. It is a complete date: 1st July 2020, 2nd July 2020. It's not having just 2020. So I wanted to have something in a column which corresponds to only 2020. So now if I just replace this date with date here, the column that we created, and then hit enter, then you'll see that the blank turns to a value which is corresponding to 242 million, and we can verify 242 million here and 242 million here. So that is our total sales for 2020. Now if I want to create total sales for 2021, I'll just use copy paste. I don't have to write all of this all over again, and I just change it to 2021. Now I'll drag it here, changes to a card again, and again we verify it as 959 million here, 959 million here. And now we want the sales year over year growth. So again I create a new measure. This time we write it sales amount YOY growth is equal to, now I use the divide function. In the numerator I want sales amount 2021 minus sales amount 2020, comma, denominator will be sales amount 2020, and the alternate result is 0. Since I want it as a percentage, I would want to multiply it by 100. Now it will give me what? Let's do a quick check. 952.29 minus 242.37 divided by 242.37 into 100. This may not be accurate because this is converting into millions, whereas if you remove this millions callout value display, it will give us the exact number. So this number could slightly differ. So if I pull it here and convert to a card, 295.79. Yeah, 295.79. So there is quite a bit of a difference because of us converting this into a callout value displaying as millions and not using the exact value. But yeah, that's it. But this at this point, we might be wondering that this is just hard coding, right? I mean, we could be in a situation where the sales are in 2022, 2023, 2024. At that time, I don't want to be hard coding things that for this particular year, for the latest year. If I want to extract the sales for the latest year, I don't want to go around and look for what is the latest year and then hard code that value in that measure. So in that case, how am I going to find out what is the latest year and how am I going to find out what is the year before that? So we'll see that in the next video. So until then, this brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching and happy learning.